Hello? Gavin? Gavin? It's not working.
Check.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate it. Technology, love-hate relationship. Thank you all for coming. Love to see a wonderful, packed house here in the Village Center. The City of Plantation Police Department is here that will be doing a scam presentation. So please make sure you have your pens and paper. Please take notes. We don't want anyone to be the next victim, okay? Please give a round of applause for the Plantation Police Department.
Hello, good afternoon. Good to see everybody here. My name is Sergeant Christopher King. I'm Sergeant, and I am assigned to the Criminal Investigations Division of the Plantation Police Department, specifically the Economic Crimes Fraud Unit. I am joined today by my team. I will say that they are skilled, intelligent, and extremely competent, and they do extremely good work. I'll introduce them. First is Investigator Margarita Hernandez. Next is Detective Andrew Klein, followed last and not least by Detective Robin Mail. And also with us is Shauna, our crime analyst. Thank you so much for being here. So before I get started, Before I get started, I want to thank the staff of Covenant Village for allowing us the opportunity to come down here and give this presentation. Fraud and economic crime is a crime that is on the rise in Florida. I think you'll see in the presentation, the second leading state in how frequent it's occurring. I promised some of us, and I mean there's more than one of us here, that I would not do bios because some of us have been around for a long time, but I will say that between the four of us, we have 70 plus years of law enforcement investigative experience. Did I do okay with that, Margarita? Okay. So that's how I navigated that. And before we get started, I just want to say it's the ethos of the Plantation Police Department that community policing is a partnership. So we love coming out here, doing this type of engagement, community outreach. I'm pretty sure I speak for the three of them over there that the only thing more satisfying than solving an economic crime is preventing one from occurring. All right, so that's our main mission. Every one of them has a topic that they're going to talk about. It's informal. If anyone has a question, please raise your hand, let one of us know, speak up, and we'll answer it for you. All right, with that being said, Investigator Margarita Hernandez. Yep.
I actually don't like holding this. Can I put this on here? I don't like holding it in my hand.
Oh, sorry.
Your question.
Behave yourself. He's a character, that one. You'll see when he gets up here. So the slide of unwanted, next one, slide 3. Okay. So unwanted and unexpected calls. I'm sure you've all received them from Amazon saying something's wrong with your account, or saying they're calling from the Social Security Administration or some other government entity that makes you stop and think that it's legit. It isn't. They call about your car warranty is about to expire, or you're eligible for a vacation cruise. And these are the things you need to do. You ignore them. It's okay to hang up on them. Even if you pick it up by accident and you think it's somebody you know, once they start talking, you don't have to be polite. Hang up, because they're not going to be polite to you. All they want is your money. Don't say anything, don't press any buttons, and consider using the call blocking. ftc.gov has a little link on it where you could put your phone number on there so that all those calls hopefully will stop. Same thing with the text messages. Do not click on anything to confirm anything unless you verify first that it's actually legitimate. They could even have the name of your bank, your Chase Visa, and you think, oh my God, what's going on? If they've compromised your account, it's already done. Stop. Take a moment to think, get your card out, look at the number on the back. Call that number. Don't press anything on that text message, because trust me, you will be sent somewhere else and it's not going to end well. Always stop and verify. You can ignore those text messages also. You don't reply or click on any links. Anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
When you get a text, not a text, an email, it seems rather obvious to me that it's spam. I usually move it to spam and then delete rather than just delete. Is there a difference?
No, either one will work. I just always just delete it immediately. I don't bother leaving it in my spam box.
Oh, I just thought that if it went to spam, it would really be gone off your account immediately.
No, they find other ways to send you that email because they already have your email address.
Oh, okay, let me repeat the question for everyone. The question was that when I have an email, I generally move it to spam and then delete because I think that that way I know it's completely off my account immediately rather than just deleting. And the response is?
They already have your email address. They'll find another way to send you another email. But either way, just delete it. You can do it the way she does it, spam first, then delete, or delete. Just don't click on anything, any links, unless you verify that it's actually a legitimate email. You have a question?
Thank you. On that same subject, when I see these things come through, I go down, this is on an email, to block sender, but they keep coming back. Do they just use somebody else's? What is the system that they use, or does it take a few days to actually block them?
Well, sometimes it does take a few days, but like I said, they already have your email, so they'll find a way to send you another email coming from a different location.
On that same issue, I've unsubscribed to any number of sites and stuff, but it doesn't seem to go away. I've signed up with Florida Stop and the federal, to block the numbers, but they don't seem to go away.
What numbers? Phone numbers?
Phone numbers and email to unsubscribe. Usually at the bottom of most of the things you get, it says unsubscribe.
Right.
And I go in and I unsubscribe, but they don't stop.
It's basically the same thing. I mean, they find different ways. You just have to keep doing it until they'll get tired and they'll move on to someone else.
There's spam and there's fraud.
Right. I think a question over here. Yes.
One day I got 3 things on the computer at the same time. One was supposed to be from Amazon, one was supposed to be from Bank of America, and the third one was from my NEA insurance. Now, how would they know about I have NEA insurance? And they wanted me to send a voided check and all this kind of stuff. And so I didn't click on any of those, but I called Amazon and they said my account was not frozen. Then I called Bank of America for an hour and a half on the phone with them. And then they ended up sending me a letter to the estate of me. And I called them up again and I said, I assure you I am not dead. But where do they get all this information? That's what I don't know.
Unfortunately, our information is out there. We fill out paperwork. We fill out paperwork at the doctor's office, social media. You have people who work at the doctor's office, I'm sorry to tell you, who are recruited to get your personal information, and then they sell it.
Emails get hacked.
Yeah, email, I mean, it's just, so much of our information is already out there, there's no way to get it back. Yeah, stealing your mail, all kinds of things. There was another question.
Sorry, real quick. If we could just hold off on questions at the end, I will run around and give you the mic so everybody can answer. But they have a wonderful presentation that I would like them to get through so that this way they don't keep repeating the same question over. Okay? Thank you.
How you doing? Can everyone hear me okay? All right, my name is Andrew. Again, feel free to raise your hand with a question. Next, if it's relevant to what we're talking about right now. So we're going to talk about a few elements of basically how people persuade you to fall for a scam. So this applies to pretty much every type of scam that we do. They're going to try to make you feel like there's an urgency to do what they'd say right now. So whatever they're telling you to do, they're going to try to make you do as soon as possible so you don't second guess it. That's the first thing. That should be a red flag. No bank's going to call you and say, you have to do this right now. It's just not going to happen. Most banks correspond with you via mail. That's the most common way. Most banks don't really call you, okay? They're going to want you not to tell anybody, so secrecy, that's the second part. They're going to want you to not share this information with anyone because they don't want people telling you that this is a scam. So they'll say, don't call your neighbors, don't call your friends or family, make up some lie when you go to the bank. They're going to say, just give this excuse because the bank's in on it. One scam that we have is they were saying that Wells Fargo was the ones doing the fraud, so they wanted them to withdraw all their money and then transfer it to a cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, which we'll go into later. So don't ask questions about that because that's a whole thing too. But basically just to say because the bank was in on it at their local branch, which obviously it was not. But it was a scam of about $30,000 to $40,000. So it was a lot of money, right? As far as the authority part of it, they're just going to say they're like the top authority of whatever company they work for, whether it's Bank of America, Amazon. We are the fraud experts or whatever they say. So the scammer is going to coach the victim to say what to say to the bank, what to do. It's pretty straightforward. As far as like purchasing gift cards, I think by now we should all know that there's going to be no payments made in gift cards to like IRS or anything like that. They're not going to ask you to pay in gift cards, the real IRS. They're going to want to pay in check, right? Next slide. So this is going to be a next type of scam, is a tech support scam. So this is kind of going back into when you're on your computer, right? You might see a pop-up that says you have a virus or a malware on your computer, and it's going to usually prompt you to call a number. This is more likely than not a scam from something that you clicked in an email or some sort of hyperlink that you clicked. They're going to want to try to get access to your computer. And then eventually they're going to try to have you send money or make it look like an error was done on your banking where you do send the money. The main point of this, because it could be pretty complicated, most companies are not going to prompt you to call them a pop-up on your screen if there's a malware or a virus. If you think there's a virus on your computer, just shut your computer down and take it to a laptop company or a repair company and they'll fix it for you, okay? Don't try to fix it yourself. Don't try to fix it yourself, let a professional do it. It's just easier that way, and that way you know it's done the right way. Like I said, just shut your computer down, and then if you call the number and it sounds suspicious, just hang up, okay? And if you have any questions, again, to this or any other scam, you can always call the police department and we can help and verify it for you, okay? That's probably the best thing to do, or call a family member to say, like, this is what's going on, what do you think? Just get a second opinion. Kind of goes back to that urgency part of it. There should be a video, kind of ties into that. Stand by. Any questions so far? No? Okay. All we have.
Community, we're all seniors. After you move in here, even if you don't know anybody, you get to know other people you enjoy doing things with. I use a computer predominantly for email and to get the news. One day a thing pops up and kind of blocks the screen and says you've got all kinds of viruses in your computer. The design of the pop-up had a Microsoft logo on the top, and they had a number. And I couldn't get rid of this thing on the screen. Turned the computer off, turned it back on, still there. So I called the number. They identified themselves as Microsoft. I had no feeling that there was anything wrong.
Tech support scams are real, and they're causing enormous consumer injury, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and that's just based on the FTC's own law enforcement work. Just like Mr. Holmes, a lot of people are getting pop-ups on their screens, and often they claim to be associated with a company such as Microsoft or Apple, giving them lots of credibility.
They told me they would clear what they considered to be malware in there. In order to clear it up, they needed to get into my computer and have my control of the computer turned over to them. So I gave them my password. They went in, the thing came off of the screen. When I went back to my computer the next day, I couldn't access my files.
You'd never let a stranger into your house. Don't let one into your computer. If you get a pop-up, don't click on a link. If you get a phone call from someone who says your computer's security is at risk, don't listen to them. Stop, take the time to talk to a friend, talk to a family member.
When this happened to me, I was a little bit embarrassed. I mean, I consider myself fairly alert, but I was targeted and I was scammed. I didn't really want to talk about this, but I realized that if I didn't talk about it, that if I didn't file the complaint with the Attorney General, that if I didn't file a complaint with the FTC, that I would have shrunk into myself. And by talking about it, by talking to all my friends,
they're not amateurs, Don.
I began to realize that they also started talking, and they started indicating that they had experienced similar things. That kind of community, that kind of exposure, it's not an embarrassment, it's just something that happens when you're a senior. You have to talk about to other seniors. What I would suggest is contact the FTC. They have a website. You can fill out a complaint online. We can be empowered with your family, your friends, and other people within your community to try to put a stop, or at least protect ourselves from these kinds of scams.
So kind of going into that, it ties into what Sergeant King was saying about prevention. So getting ahead of this is the best way to stop this, right? Once it's done, it's very hard for us to investigate this because they're so complex and usually overseas. So awareness is the best part of it. And don't be embarrassed. There's people of all ages that fall for this stuff. It's not just senior citizens or elderly. I have cases all the time from 30-year-olds, 20-year-olds. It's not just you. These people that do this are very, very, very good. A local example of a tech scam that I had was someone had a pop-up on their computer that said it was with Norton antivirus, which is a very common antivirus software. Said that their computer was compromised, click this link, and then they call a number, and you got to pay this subscription, and it ends up being just completely fraudulent. So with that, we'll move on to online dating scams, which Detective Mail will speak to.
Oh, this is high, I'm short. All right. So with online dating scams, this is pretty common, and it's not always started online. Sometimes it is over the phone. Every now and then you'll get like a random text message and it's somebody saying, "Hi, how are you?" And then they say, "Oh, wrong number, but you sound nice, let me talk to you." And then they develop some sort of bond with you at some point, and then they start to ask you for money. And then it ends up being where you're sending money overseas, whether it's through Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, just wiring money, anything like that. So we have a video for you.
Looking for love in all the right places? Like popular dating sites, mobile apps, and social networking sites? Ron seems like a perfect match for you. He's thoughtful and says he can't live without you. He says he's from the U.S. but works out of the country. He says he wants to visit but says he can't afford it. He asks you to send him money. Last month it was medical bills for his sick aunt. This month he needs money to fix his car. Next month, who knows? Ron wants your money. Don't send it. The person pretending to be Ron is a scammer. He'll tell you anything to get you to wire cash right away. He'll never run out of excuses. If an online love interest asks you for money, walk away, no matter how compelling the story. Report scams at ftc.gov/imposters.
So like I said, it's usually starts in like a chat group, a dating app, a text message, whatever it is. They'll develop some sort of bond with you because at the end of the day, let's face it, humans are social creatures and we get lonely. So they develop that bond with you, get you to trust them, and then they either ask you to wire money for, like he said, I'm having a surgery, I want to come visit you, I don't have the money to come see you. Can you open a bank account because I don't live in the United States and I can't open one? And then they'll have money wired into it and then ask you to send it to them via Bitcoin because that's the only way they can receive it living in another country. Just a lot of red flags, right? So they'll also do a pyramid scam. They'll ask you to invest in a business opportunity and then you'll get your money threefold back at the end, and they end up continually asking you for money until you realize that it's a scam, and then they completely disappear on you. And at that point, it's sometimes impossible for us to do anything at that point. So just remember, we're not gonna don't send the money, never wire money, put money on a prepaid debit card, send cash, because they'll ask you to buy the gift cards too and send them the gift card numbers and the passcodes, and then they'll empty them right away. You won't get it back. We've had a bunch of these cases. Actually, one of my friends, his mother is going through it right now, and she really thinks she's met somebody who lives on a barge somewhere in the middle of the ocean, and he just communicates with her via text message when he's available and has service. And she sent, I think, over $100,000 at this point. So, but he's not a real person, and we keep trying to tell her. So just make sure that you guys are verifying this information before we're sending money to anybody, right? Okay, I think we have the next one up, right?
Scam artists are pretending to be IRS officials to get your money. They'll call, email, or text you, claiming you owe back taxes or there's a problem with your tax return. They even rig caller ID to make your call look official. They play on your fears. They threaten to take your driver's license or sue, arrest, or deport you. They want you to pay fast. What's the truth? The truth is, the IRS's first contact with you will always be a letter in the mail. It's not a phone call, email, or text message. They won't insist that you pay with a prepaid debit card, a wire transfer, or cashier's check. Now you know. Has an IRS imposter contacted you? Report it at ftc.gov/imposters.
So just to go over what they said, the IRS is never going to call you, ever. They won't ask you to pay with any prepaid debit cards or gift cards or send any wire transfers. They won't ask for your credit card information over the phone. It will always be in a letter in the mail, U.S. mail. So what you can do is don't wire any money. Call the IRS yourself and make sure, verify. It's always going to be stop, think, and verify to make sure that what they're asking you to do is actually legitimate, because the urgency is always going to be there. I had a case where a woman was contacted. She was told that if she didn't pay the back taxes, she was going to be arrested. Her daughter was going to be arrested. Her daughter was a special needs adult. And she got so much anxiety that she sent the money. And the total loss to the scam was $112,000. And not able to get any money back. Want to play the audio?
Inform you that IRS is filing a lawsuit against you.
If your phone rings and the caller ID reads IRS, do not answer your phone. Scammers try many tactics. They may prey on your fears and threaten you with deportation, arrest, or loss of your driver's license. They may speak your language to gain your trust. Do not believe them. They may ask you to pay by prepaid card or wire transfer. Don't do it. Do not give money. It's a scam. The IRS will never ask for payment by wire transfer, prepaid, or credit card. Whatever the scenario, remember two things: hang up and report the call.
Just very, very quickly, just understand that they can spoof phone numbers. So just like it shows on the phone, it'll say IRS, it's not the IRS. Or it'll say your bank, Chase Bank, it's not. Detective Klein?
So the most important thing to remember with all these scams is this: the goal is to get your money. So there's so many scams out there, and there are always new ones developing. It changes all the time. The main picture and the umbrella of this is just don't send money to anyone that you don't know, and verify everything, like Margarita said. Next type of scam is called the grandparent scam, which obviously affects this age group specifically. So we'll have a little video here.
An accident in Mexico. I'm in jail.
Jimmy, is that you?
Yeah, it's Jimmy. I need money for bail right now.
In jail?
You need to send money right now. Please don't tell anyone.
Scammers are tricky and can pretend to be anybody in any situation. They seem like the real deal. They play on your fears. The goal? To get you to act fast. Check out if they really are who they say they are, even if they sound like a loved one. Heard from an imposter? Report it at ftc.gov/imposters.
So like I said, this scam specifically targets elderly people, and it really plays in the emotional part of it, where a loved one or family member is in trouble and needs help. So like the video said, you get a call, I need money for bail, or I've been arrested and I need this money to get out. So I had a specific case of this in our city about a year ago, where a family sent about $30,000 cash to somebody. They got a call saying that their son was arrested for a DUI in North Carolina, and he was actually on vacation in North Carolina, so that made sense because the grandparents post about it on social media, so that's how these scammers find out about things and certain details. So be careful what you post on social media, like say, oh, my family's going here, then they know that, right? In the end, just verify what has happened. So if your grandkid or loved one has been arrested, there's nothing they're gonna need right away that can't wait a little bit to verify, right? They're not gonna need bail the same day they were arrested, and you're not gonna send cash to anybody. That's not how bail works. So just verify, like every other scam, verify what's going on. Yeah, stop, check it out. So basically, every scam that we talk about today, just stop. They want you to rush. Stop and think about it. Call somebody and verify.
I think we have a video first.
I'm from Medicare. We're sending out the new cards, and I need to confirm your billing information to keep your coverage active. For your protection, I need the last 4 numbers of your Social Security number. We need this urgently, or else you'll be charged a fee.
Scammers call people pretending to be Medicare representatives. If you receive a phone call from someone acting like a Medicare rep, asking for your personal information, bank details, or Medicare number, it's a scam. Do not give any personal information or money. If someone calls you offering free equipment or services in exchange for your Medicare information, do not accept and hang up. Don't worry about being rude or embarrassed. They're not going to give you free equipment. They just want your information for identity theft. If you get a phone call informing you of new policies or updates about Medicare, do not engage. Instead, initiate the call to Medicare. Then you can make sure that you're calling the correct number to talk to Medicare directly and report it to them. Medicare scams can happen to anyone, but if you tell the people around you, you might just keep it from happening to them. Whatever the scenario, remember 2 things: hang up and report the call.
So to sum it up, with Medicare or any company really that's calling you about your insurance or anything like that, they already have your information. They're not going to ask you for it, right? So if you're not sure, like she said, hang up. The worker on the other line is not going to get upset because they understand fraud is very prevalent now. Call the number that's on the back of your Medicare card, or Google it, or, I mean, it's really 1-800-Medicare. call it yourself. Don't take any phone numbers from the representative on the other line, because they're going to give you a phone number that will direct you back to them or someone that they're working with. So make sure you're checking the numbers on the back of the card or the website on the back of the card before we're contacting anybody else. At the end of the day, like Detective Klein said, they're just out to get your money. So they're going to do any way they can. They're going to play on your emotions and on the urgency of everything. Okay? I think she had a question.
I don't think there's a video for this one. There's no video. Okay. I feel like we're constantly repeating ourselves, but it's just, it's so important that you just stop. If they tell you you've won the lottery, the first question you have to ask yourself is, did I enter? Because if you didn't enter, how can you win? Okay. And trust me when I tell you that Uncle Sam is going to take his right off the top. So you don't have to send money for any fees or taxes or anything else, because they'll always ask you to send a certain amount of money to an actual person at a bank account, not to Reader's Digest or Publishers Clearinghouse, but to an actual person. And that money will go into that account and then go straight out overseas, and you can't get that money back. So whatever call you get, a card or email, again, did I actually enter this? If you didn't, delete it. Don't click on anything. Don't call anybody. So the 3 signs of a prize scam: you have to pay to get your prize. They say paying increases your odds of winning, but if you already won, how is it going to increase anything? And of course, you have to give your financial information, because they're going to direct deposit it into your account. That's not going to happen. And lottery scams, they're just different types. I had a case where a woman was actually approached inside of a store. She was shopping. She was approached by 2 women. They seemed to be, very nice. They said they needed her help. She wanted to help. She was a nice lady, and they took her to the bank, and she withdrew money and gave it to them. And then they said they felt sick. Can you take me to Publix and buy me medication and a bottle of water? And she said, sure. By the time she came out of Publix, they were gone. Gone with her money. And they knew the cameras to avoid. They had taken her to her bank at Bank of America. And how they'll trick you. They say they're from the government when they're not. They'll use names of organizations you might recognize. And they'll send you a message via text or email or social media to get your personal information. Do not give it to them. They'll make it seem like you're the only person who won a prize, but the same text, email, or letter went to lots of people. Scammers say you've won a foreign lottery or that you can buy tickets for one. Messages about a foreign lottery are almost certainly from a scammer, and it's a bad idea to respond. They pressure you to act now to get a prize. Scammers want you to hurry up and pay or give them information. Another scam is they'll send you a check and they'll ask you to send money back. When you deposit that check into your own account, it doesn't take weeks for the bank to find out that it's a counterfeit check. But by the time they find out, that money's gone, because they're asking you to deposit a $2,000 check, but send $1,500 to another account. When that check comes back as counterfeit, the bank is going to come after you for that money. So that's just another way where they trick you. And here's Andrew.
So this is kind of a newer scam or a newish scam that we're seeing. It's probably something that's very confusing to people who have never dealt with anything like this. I'm not going to go into what cryptocurrency is or the details of it because it's very complex. The best way to think of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is digital cash. So it's like having $100 in your pocket, but instead of in your pocket, it's just online. So once it's gone, it's gone. So a lot of new scams are having you send money via either Bitcoin or cryptocurrency because it's harder to trace than sending a check somewhere or a wire. Because when you wire something through the bank system, there's a trace of it. There's a paper trail, right? So Bitcoin is kind of the new thing that scammers are wanting you to do. Just remember, any legitimate company is not going to have you pay in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency because it's not backed by the federal government. The government can't take taxes from it. They don't support it. They don't honor it. So all these scams, or anyone who's saying you have to go to the gas station at 97th and Broward and put $1,500 in a Bitcoin ATM to pay this thing is not legitimate, okay? I've had scams where they say the banking industry, the Wells Fargo you go to is corrupt. You have to remove all of your money and put it into this Bitcoin to protect it. Obviously, it sounds a little ridiculous when you hear it, but people fall for it because they get scared. It's their life savings and they get worried about it, right? There's different kinds of scams that tie into Bitcoin, but in the end, it's just wanting you to change your money into a different type of currency that's less traceable. Does that make sense? Okay, it's just another way, another layer for us to not find them. Cryptocurrency was started kind of to stay outside of the banking industry because the banking industry tracks everything. That's why Bitcoin or cryptocurrency was started. In the end, the base of it is don't pay anybody in Bitcoin. There's no reason why you should have to pay anybody in your life in Bitcoin. It's just not going to something that is used legitimately. So if anyone's saying anything about paying in Bitcoin or a different type of cryptocurrency, there's a whole bunch of them out there. I'm not going to list them. That's just not legitimate, okay? There's different kinds of investment schemes. This is kind of one that we're seeing recently. I've gotten a few cases. The one I got last week, the loss was about $200,000. The guy was told that if he invests, this money into a cryptocurrency scheme, and it was someone that he actually was dating online. So it started out as a dating scam that turned into an investment scam. He ended up sending about $200,000 and converting it into crypto, and then it went to another account, which ended up being a Chinese account overseas. So obviously that money is gone. There are instances where we can freeze this money if we catch it early enough and hopefully get it back, but that's only if they're using companies out of the United States, which is not common. So, like I said, it gets confusing. Just know that don't send money in cryptocurrency. Don't invest in cryptocurrency. It's just not worth it unless you really, really know what you're doing, which I don't even know what I'm doing when it comes to that stuff, so just stay out of it. We're going to go through some statistics. I'm not going to go through every type of one, but this is the new cryptocurrency losses. I'm not sure what time frame, but so the number one investment scam is where cryptocurrency is being used, where you're being told to invest in something and you're going to make money. So I think, was this over a 1 year period? 2020. So probably by now this is exponentially bigger. But this, as of 2020, there's 3,200 victims for investment scam in the United States, which I'm pretty sure is a lot more than that just don't report it. And then on the bottom part is the dollar amounts. So the top one of there was, I think, a 716 million, right? That was the top one? Yeah. No, 716 billion in the investment scam just from 2020. So by now, that's probably a lot more. There's different kinds and stuff, but we don't need to go through each one of them. But so as of 2022, this is 88,000 victims over 60 years old, and I'm sure there's a lot more than that that are just embarrassed to report it. That's probably on the low end. They estimate about $3 billion in losses for elderly victims. 84% of victims went up from 2021, which is a lot. And this is probably in the middle of COVID too, which had something to do with it. People are obviously scared and panicked for different reasons, so that's being taken advantage of as well. The average loss is about $35,000, which every year I've worked here, because my 4th year doing fraud, it's gone up exponentially. Like a big case for me back in 2019 was probably $15,000. Now I'm getting regularly $100,000, $200,000 cases. And this is people's life savings. This is what they worked their whole life for. Different types of crimes, again, for victims over. The most common one is tech support, because everyone has a computer, and usually elderly victims don't understand computers that much. So it's confusing to them, and they'll click things they shouldn't click. All right. And then here's just different dollar amounts. So again, tech support, $587 billion. So these dollar amounts are extremely high, and it affects a lot of people in the United States. Again, like Sergeant King was saying, Florida is number 2. Just following California in fraud, and I'm pretty sure we're going to take number 1 soon. A lot of people are moving here from California, and the age of Florida is getting higher. So, but like I said, there's victims that are 30-year-old, 20-year-old that are falling victims to this stuff. So it's not just elderly victims. So overall, the theme of everything is just think about what you're doing. Don't overreact. Don't do anything quickly. If you want to verify, please call us. All right. Our non-emergency number is, we can give it out to you. We're going to open up for questions in a second. Just call us and we can verify it for you. Miss Hamilton wants to speak. Can you get our microphone? Yeah, she's got it. She just wants to say something in regards to this. this case.
I speak from personal experience. I've been a subscriber to Reader's Digest for many years. So when I got a letter from Reader's Digest saying that I'd qualified or I'd won, I threw it away. About 2 or 3 weeks later, I get a call. Mrs. Hamilton, this is Reader's Digest. Why haven't you responded to our letter? You know, you've won. You haven't qualified. You've won $3.5 million. So I said, well, I'm not interested, but they kept on pressuring me. Needless to say, I fell a victim. About a month later, after keeping their emails, making copies of the addresses that I sent checks to, I finally put a stop to it when they demanded $238,000. But nevertheless, I am out many thousands of dollars that I sent to these scammers. I did keep the emails. I kept the addresses that I sent the checks to. But even though I thought I was wise in these scam others, I fell victim. And I cannot even claim the loss on my income tax because I sent personal checks.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's not uncommon. That's a very common thing we hear from victims, right? It's something they pressure you. Eventually, you think it's legitimate because it's something you subscribe to for years, right? And then you sent the money. And then eventually, after you send a certain amount of money, you're like, oh, this is a scam, but it's too late at that point. And it's embarrassing, but that's why we're here to talk about this and get ahead of the curve, right? Question?
This isn't about this particular one, but it's about, similar to the grandparent scam. I didn't get as far as the grandparent scam, but I got a voicemail on my landline, and it said there was a father and a son, and it sounded exactly like my son and his son. And they were saying, Susan, they both said that. And I let it go because I didn't answer the phone, but then I recorded it with my cell phone, sent it to my son and grandson, and I said, do you have any reason for calling me together? They didn't live in the same city.
Right.
So this is called voice printing.
Yep.
And it sure sounded like my son, and I still have it saved on my voicemail, but and then every now and then I still get the same call. So they have this. It's not an individual calling. It is a
automated
line.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of new technologies out there that can spoof people's voices. I'm sure you've heard about artificial intelligence or AI that's coming out. These scammers are very advanced. This is what they do for a living. They make a lot of money doing this. So there's all kinds of new stuff coming out, and again, it's just verified. So what you did was the right thing. You contacted your son and your grandson. You said, is this you? And they said no, right?
Yeah, and my son said, we don't call you Susan, we call you Grandma.
Exactly. And they probably got that information from social media or an email that was compromised, or there's a million different ways it could have been gotten out.
I'm just amazed that their voices it's perfect voices.
Yeah, and this is what they do.
Impersonators. And then they have impersonators too. Yeah. Remember that people can change their voice all the time. So.
Yeah. And even if it sounds a little bit like it, you're like, that could be them. Maybe they're in trouble and they're somewhere where the phone's not good. So you did the right thing by stopping and verifying, right? You want to make sure they're okay. That's important. Right. But you did the right thing. So good job. I will say this thing. Yeah. Headsets.
My name is Sharon, and I got a letter.
I can hear.
I got oh dear. I got a letter from, it was FTE or something, and it said that as of December of this present year, I would no longer have my insurance. And so I quick called my insurance company, thank goodness, and they said, whatever you do, rip it up.
Yeah.
So it happens that way too.
Yeah, there are regular mail scams too. It's not as common just because there's, you gotta send paper and it's a little harder to do, but there are mail scams. So the big picture of it, just verify everything.
Just one more addendum. I questioned them. They always had the right answer.
Yeah, they're very good at this.
I said to them, why do I have to write a check out to a person if this money is going to the state? Why can't I write a check out to Florida State? No, they had to do it this way. Why can't I send it to the Florida State address of the Capitol in Tallahassee? No, this person is working from home. She'll go to the bank and she'll go to the offices of the state.
Yeah, they have answers for the single excuse you have.
When something like this happens, I finally called the Plantation Police Department, and the inspector, the investigator Hernandez, came over and personally took all of the information that I needed, that she needed, that I had.
And again, if you do fall victim to something, please let us know and make a report. It's better for us to know about it and try to investigate it than not knowing about it at all. Even if we can't get your money back, we can try to find out who did it. Even if it yields nothing, we at least report it and we can know what's happening and we could educate you on it. All right, any more questions?
I have one right here.
Yep.
Hello. I have been scammed with the health department. Just a month ago, 2 months ago, to my amazement, I listened to them, and but anyway, after I hung up on them, I called then the account, my insurance, and they said no, we didn't get in touch with you. So I changed the number, but also I received some winning things from different organizations. I've not responded to. I've never entered any.
Yeah, and I wouldn't.
No, I won't.
Yeah.
I won't. And to the first time I got 20-some years ago, I got my first computer. I called it the devil's machine from day one.
I can agree with that statement. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, if it sounds too good to be true or suspicious, just check on it. Verify it.
I do want to say something real quick. Other residents are here for you. Staff members are here for you. If you have any questions or concerns, Gavin, our wonderful IT specialist, Susan Harris, your resident life director, we can make a personal room and help you get through this, and we can help you contact the police department if it's gone to such lengths. So we are here to help you. And if we don't really talk about it, we don't educate you, and we don't let you become aware of what is happening. So I would like to thank for those who have volunteered to say what has happened to them, so this can get on your alert and on your radar to know what's coming out and what's happening in the mail, email, or phone calls. But please know, see Susan, Gavin, Brad, or our dean. They will help you at all times, okay?
I think we have another question.
The information, the direction, just to delete right away emails and text. I have in the past also, tried to contact, like say, for example, Amazon to send to their fraud unit. But is this FTC.gov for anything?
Yeah,
so
it's
that I can,
the Federal Trade Commission. That's what FTC stands for.
So that's
for any business operating in the United States.
Okay, so that I don't have to. They'll take the notification.
That's the agency
and go from
you
there.
should report it to. I mean, if you can contact Amazon, but
No, but that's troublesome because
they're not really going to do much for you.
Fraud unit is. Yeah. Well, just to alert them. Usually, I mean, I haven't fallen prey to it, but. Just to say that this is going on, do you know about this particular?
And I do recommend some sort of credit monitoring software. Whatever, there's a million out there. I would definitely subscribe to one. I do personally myself, just so if anyone tries to open up a mortgage with your social security number or a car, you're notified about it.
Are you giving us your telephone number?
Yeah, it's 911.
No, for non-emergency, non-emergency.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to put it up there? Can we add it up? Yeah, we'll add it up. The non-emergency number, it's just 954-797-2100, but we'll put it on the screen for you.
Also with Amazon, I get those text messages all the time. Yeah. What I do is I just go to my account, I go to my app on my phone, go to my account and check. And those orders are never there. The last one I got, they had bought a phone for like $1,200, which I know I would never do. But I just check, and then I just delete the message.
And when it comes to like the Amazon scams and stuff, if there is a fraudulent purchase on your account, there's time to reverse it if it's legitimate. If someone actually does hack your account and buy something, there's no rush to send money to anybody else. You can contact Amazon, find your own phone number for Amazon, the customer service, they'll reverse it for you. So there's no really urgent need to send money to anybody right away, but that's what the scammers are gonna want. They're gonna want you to send money. That's the ultimate goal, send money.
I had a question from a resident that could not make it today. Robocalls. They applied to get their phone number removed from the specific website, but they're still getting harassed by robocalls. Any advice or recommendations?
Unfortunately, that's the best thing they can do right now. These robocalls are very sophisticated where it makes it look like it's a local number calling. So they'll have a 954 area code, so the robocall blocker doesn't really know what's fake and what's not fake. It'll do an okay job, but I get them 10 a day.
I've gotten 2 just.
Yeah, I get 10 a day. And I've subscribed to everything. Yeah, what I usually do is if it's a number that I don't know, I don't answer it, and they can leave me a voicemail, and I'll call them back.
If it's important, they'll leave a message.
Yeah, and if it's a number calling you from your loved one, you know that because it has your caller ID, right? So if
it's somebody from the police department calling, we've been through this plenty of times. People don't trust us because they've been scammed, and we're like, okay, Google Plantation Police non-emergency, and call them, and you can ask the dispatcher, do you have someone working there by this name? Because don't ask that person for the phone number because they're just going to redirect you. So we've had people do that on us plenty of times, and we are totally fine with that. It's better to be safe.
What is that number for? It's the non-emergency phone number for it. The
non-emergency Plantation Police Department.
Non-emergency.
Yeah. Yes.
For your department.
Yes.
So that'll call our dispatch, and then they can direct you to us or whoever.
I've been getting stuff on email saying a website to be able to check your credit line. Is that part of these scams?
Yeah.
Most likely.
Okay, because I haven't responded to anything. I've been just deleting it.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the best thing you can do.
Equifax and 3 companies.
Yeah, there's the 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And you get one for each one per year, right? For free. But you have to do that through those companies. Don't do it through an email. I know I have Wells Fargo and I have the app on my phone. I can check my credit through my Wells Fargo app on my phone as well. But that's through my actual bank. So just make sure you're doing it in the legitimate way and you shouldn't have an issue.
Yeah, it most likely is.
And can you also touch point on reporting it? I know some people don't want to report it, but if you don't report it, you guys won't know, and it's better to report it.
You can report it to ic3.gov. Samantha, I'll send you that information so you could give it to them. ftc.gov, or you can call us and make a police report.
Can I just touch base on that? So again, the biggest reason why we're here is the prevention aspect of it. We'd much rather be contacted, take 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour of our time than having you guys fall victim. Like Detective Klein says, these cases, there's no such thing as an easy fraud case to investigate. They're either complex, very complex, or almost impossibly complex. And just as far as the embarrassment level goes, again, just to repeat, everybody falls for these things. There's 20-year-olds, they're very good at what they do. But specifically, the reason why we're here, everybody in this room has lived your life, work hard, raised families, saw good times, probably saw a lot of, some hardship too. You guys have earned the right to enjoy your retirement. And it would be a shame if some 2-bit scammer just pulls all the money that you've worked decades, your whole life to have, that eventually to even take it one step further, it's not even about you, it's about after you leave, who gets that money. So it affects, your family down the line too. So this is the reason why we're here. So don't ever feel embarrassed. I'm going to give Samantha my card, non-emergency number. Anytime you want to give us a call, let us get ahead of it, and probably 99% of the time, it's probably fraud. So we'll give you the best advice we can. So,
2 quick questions. One is, I've noticed recently they started sending an invoice that looks real to email and text messages.
Yep.
I don't know if you mentioned that there. I may not notice that, but they send you an invoice and it says you owe X number of dollars.
Call here if it's a mistake. Yeah.
And hopefully you don't owe that particular money. And the other thing, a lot of times we get solicitations from charitable groups, police departments, and things like that. And how do you know who to trust on those, or you just reject them all?
For me, I personally are suspicious of everything. So if I get something, usually the invoice part of it, it's something that you probably didn't pay for or subscribe to. So a lot of it's like for Geek Squad at the Best Buy. That's one I get all the time, right? I haven't bought anything there in a while, so I know that's not something I did. So they want you to call the number usually on there saying, if this is an error, please call this number. That's what they want you to do. So look at your bank account. So if you saw an invoice for Best Buy, go to your bank account. Do you have a purchase for Best Buy? If you don't, then it's a fraud. You can call Best Buy directly from just getting the number online yourself. Just don't follow any information from that email, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to call a number from that email. That's the ultimate goal, or click a link from that email. All the scams have the same concept. They want you to follow their prompts. It's going to have you call or email somebody, and then they're going to walk you through how to send them money. That's the ultimate goal. If that answers your question, I think.
Any last questions?
Again, please call us. I'd rather you call me 100 times a day to stop a scam than have to investigate it afterwards. Although I do like arresting people, it's just better to not have to deal with it and have to go through it, right?
Thank you. Hopefully we can get this on a quarterly rotation with the police department, because scams are always evolving, and I can't think of the word, I'm sorry. But yes, Gavin was here. He will be taking some of these thoughts into considerations for our IT chats, and we'll make sure that we have that ftc.gov exactly everywhere for you all. So if you ever get suspicion, you can always report it. And then if you have any questions, you can contact administration. And yeah, if you have any questions, just stop by administration. Susan, Gavin, we're happy to make a room for you. Happy to kind of help you navigate through this. Yeah, thank you. Thank you again for the police department.